Well, welcome to Watercolor Studio 42, and today I'm going to kind of give you an idea how I start some of my classes. My most recent one has been over at the Attleboro Senior Center, and that's the only one that I do now since the pandemic. They're kind of cut all the other classes in the other towns. And another thing too, my eyesight's such that I don't drive anymore, so I kind of stick pretty much, in town. But what I usually do is when I start off with a class, I don't know. I know the number of people that might sign up for the class. It averages around 14 to 16, and this one we just started is 14 people. Now, some of these people have been with me for a while. I call them my groupies, like they do in the rock world. My groupies have been with me for a while, but usually when you start off a class, you start off with probably 2 or 3 maybe new people, but I don't know until I get there and find out. So usually for an exercise, the first day, I give them a little bit of a visual, I should say, challenge, and to see where they're coming from, what level and all that. Of course, with my groupies, I know what level they're on. So this particular exercise, they can do that the first class, or they can be working on something that they've already decided to do, that they bring in from home. I let the students, for the most part, pick out the particular subject that they'd like to do, but I always have something handy for those that, I don't know what to do. Okay, so I always have something ready for them to do, and the subject and so forth. So one time, I should say not one time, but sometimes I give them a little bit of homework to do, something that they can do at home and to bring in and talk about. So this is it. This is how it is. So here we do, the first day we start off with a little package, and usually in the package I have some information on my priorities of what goes into a pretty good painting. And then I have, of course, this tag here. I have to fill out the tag. I put my name on it, kind of large, Ben, of course. And then they have the name tag, because I know the groupies, but I don't know the new folks, and the new folks don't know my groupies. So so then we have here. I usually give them a paper towel if they don't have one. Usually I bring in a roll of towel with me, like I have here, a little stack of that. And then this is the so-called worksheet. Now what I have here, it probably doesn't show up very well because I do it in pencil. And on TV it might not show up. So I'm going to go over what this is with the marker. You can use different size markers if you want. And if you use a marker, of course, doing watercolor, you have to make sure that you have a permanent ink marker, so it's not going to blur when you touch it with some wet paint or water and whatnot. But so here's this card, and what I've done is I've used a ruler to draw about 6 lines going all different directions and lengths. And then I've introduced after that some curvy shapes. Again, about 6. So there's 12 altogether. You can add a few more along the way. But I start them off with the 12. And then they have the back of this if they want to experiment as something they might be able to do at home and bring in the following week. So here we go. Now, I'm just going to put this down, and I'm going to pick up one of my permanent markers, and if I want to do the straight edges first, I can use a ruler, or I could probably stay on the line, but I'll be on the safe side. Let's go over the lines that I already have done with the pencil. So let's see, here's a straight one here. So I just put my ruler down along the edge of that, the marker. There's number 1. We got a straight line here, there's 2. Another one over here. Here you go with the 3. Go over that a little longer. 4. Whoops, a little bit crooked there, but that's okay, no problem. Let's see, so far I've got the 5 in. Here's my 6th one, I believe. There you go. I think I've got all the straight edges done. So it is a 6 mark, and every one of these I make up in my little packs that packages that I hand out. Every one of these is different, and I don't know for the world what it's going to turn out to be. I try to just block everything out of my mind and just put some marks on the paper to start with. Okay, so let's just try to see if I can stay on the curvies a little bit. 1 there. Let's follow this around here. Loops around like that. Another curve over here. Another one over here. Now, if I don't stay exactly on the pencil line, that's okay. That's okay. No problem. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Loop around here, and it ends up down out in there somewhere. And you get another little curve here. Did I cover them all? One more. I think it looks like I have everybody, all these markings. Okay. Now the thing is, I've got all of these open-ended marks, straight edges and curves, okay? So I'm looking at this and I'm figuring out how I can probably pull it together. Now, can I find something that's like an object, a subject of sort? Or if I can't see anything that I can convert into an object somehow, then I just close it in, connect it with some of the other lines that I've already worked with. So I should mention that let's put this marker cap on here, and we're going to see what we can do. Now, I'm turning it around, looking at it this way. Now I haven't worked this out in my head. I just grabbed one out of the pile I had at home, and I'm looking at this for the first time since I put these marks on here. So I'm not cheating at all. You know, I could kind of do something that I knew what it would turn out to be at home, but no, I'm doing it the hard way. I'm doing it the way I asked my students to just look at it, see what I have here. Okay. Now I may not have anything other than to convert this into a design. Just connect the loose edges, or the pieces we have here. You can do this with string too. A lot of times I used to take yarn and stick the yarn on the paper and work a pattern into that. Let's see what we have here. Well, we got something going. Right in here, it could be like a face. sort of like a distorted image. Okay, look at this. Musical instrument, guitar shape in here. Let's take another, turn it around, look at it. Oh, I'm thinking of here, it could be heavy waves and sort of a boat kind of breaking up from the beat of the waves here. Let's see what we have. Okay. Now, I really, if I had a little bit more time or took time, I probably could find something else that looks like a heel, like a part of a foot there. And I mentioned the guitar, like a musical instrument, bass fiddle or whatever, violin shape maybe. Okay. Now, well, that could be a whale. That could be a whale, that curve there, hunchback whale, whatever. This could be a boat somehow breaking up. I'm thinking of, I guess, Moby Dick, aren't I? A little bit, yeah. The story about the whale, but I don't know if it ended up sinking the ship or something, whatever it was. Let's see what we have. Yeah, let's try to go that route, okay? Let's see what I can do with it. We'll call this Moby Dick today. Now, just to be on the safe side, I'm just going to start off again with the pencil in case I want to arrange shape a little bit. But I saw in here, you follow me along here, this looks like the back of the whale's, like its tail, right in there. All we have to do is bring that in there, close that in. Then this could be the head, right? This could be its head. Let's close this in here. Now you can add other shapes, right? So let's put the whale's eye, approximately might have his eye here. And whether he has his mouth open, I'm not sure, but we could try that. Let's put a line down here. And I don't know if the whale have sort of real teeth per se. You see the little whale shape in there now? Now, all of these little bumps here, we could kind of connect those and make those into the waves. Waves, the ocean. Okay. Now, remember, I had absolutely no idea what this was going to be. But just that curve there kind of hinted a whale's back. And then we held with the theme of it, the idea of a whale and Moby Dick, okay? I didn't know that was going to happen. I really didn't, to be honest with you. Okay. Any of these shapes. Now, some of these other shapes, some of the straight edge, they could be part of the ship. You know, the whale's kind of breaking up the ship, right? So you got all these parts floating around and breaking off here. Let's add to it some more pieces of the boat. And I don't know if there's any bodies of people out there. Of course there were. There was the sailors and the harpoonists and so forth, things like that. So I don't know if I can do people in here or not. But I certainly could show parts, some more parts of the boat. How about with the mast pole? We'll put the mast up in here, and that could be breaking down. Well, I got a shape here. Maybe that could be a person. Maybe that could be a person. Maybe the head here and part of their body, possibly. Whatnot. Let's see. Another person, maybe. The body. Here's a head. Make that look like a body. And we could have some more wood, the ship breaking up. Maybe, let's see, maybe not, something else. I think I'll make that part of the tail and whatnot. Now, so here we are. We have some people floating around here. We've got some wood breaking up of the wooden ship, the whaling ship, and let's see what else. We'll come across something else as we go. Now, I don't know what, I'm not sure about inside the mouth of a whale. I don't know if it has teeth or tongue or what. We'll make some little thing in there. But that's a whale. Now, these could be seamen, so they could have caps on, whatever. Sometimes they wore stocking caps. So we'll make him look like he has a stocking cap on. Another one could have maybe a felt hat. Probably with all this commotion going on, they'd probably lose their hat here or there. We could put some, I'm going to add some ocean back here, make some kind of waves in there. Up in here could be the sky. We could show the little bit of sky off in the distance here, up in that upper part. And down in here, some more broken wood. Add some planking in there, things breaking up. Okay. Something like that. Of course, when they did whaling, they back in the olden days, before they had the special equipment they used, they used to have to leave the large ship and go off in smaller boats and row the boat, and then they'd have a fellow up front, and he'd have the harpoon. He'd have that harpoon ready to, toss into the whale. And I'll tell you, that guy had to be pretty good. He had to have a pretty strong arm to penetrate that body of the whale, even though the skin of the whale, I guess, has a lot of blubber and whatnot. I read the book one time, Moby Dick, years ago, way back. And I think they came out, not recently, but over the years there was a movie. They made a movie of the story. I think the author of the book was Herman Melville, that wrote Moby Dick. Now, to give you a little background, I guess they did a lot of whaling around the New Bedford area, Fairhaven, out that way. There's a lot of whaling ships that came in there. I think, of course, in New Bedford they still have the Whaling Museum. And somebody said there's one, I've never been out to Nantucket that often, but there's a whaling museum on the island of Nantucket. So that's a little bit of the background that I know about it. And of course, Moby Dick, there was somebody that really wanted to get even with Moby Dick. He caused him have an accident, whether he lost a leg or whatever it was. I don't know if it was like Ahab or some name like that. Don't hold me to that name, but it seemed to be somebody that was always trying to get a catch or whatever, get back at Moby Dick. So it was a whale. All right, now I think I've drawn quite a bit into this right now. I don't know what other detail I might put on this as we go along. But this fellow could be holding maybe a harpoon somehow. Make that look like an arm, and he's got that harpoon. Okay, so that's what that turned into. So it could be just about anything when you stop and think about it. Now, I didn't know what the picture or the subject was going to be about, so you're always safe to put out your 3 primary colors. You got yellow, and I usually put the yellow at the top. I put some red over on the left side here, leave a well open if you want to mix the color. Across here, that would be the blue. So you got your primary colors, the yellow, the red, and blue. If you want to make an orange color, you take a little bit of yellow, put a dab of red, mix it around with the brush, and you get orange. If you want to make purple, you go across, mix blue with red in here or in one of the empty wells, and you got purple. And then the other color is orange. So, oh, I mentioned orange. You need green, okay? So you can mix yellow with red and make orange, blue and yellow, make green, and then if you want a purplish color, mix red with the blue. So the primary colors really make up all the other colors just about in the world, in a sense. Sometimes I work just with the 3 colors, using them, but of course you've got so many other colors that you could use already pre-mixed. You know, you don't have to mix everything that or every color that you use. Okay, so anyway, so I'm going to start off. I always do the blue sky, and if this is ocean out here, we can leave some of the white in there for the, you know, the foam, aerated water, and also make it sort of like the ocean, sort of the greenish color. So let's start with that first, okay? So those are larger areas, so we could start with a bigger brush. We'll use, oh, that's a flat one. I'll use a round one. Rounder brush, and probably one of the larger ones I have here with me today. And what do we say? How about putting in the blue sky? We'll put a little blue sky across the top. Now, if you want, this is up to you. You can wet the paper first with just water, right? Just wet it with the water where you want the sky to go. Get this filled in around here. And you don't have to be that fussy. When you put the sky in, you don't have to be that fussy. Just lay the water in, and then depending on how blue the sky will be, you can put some blue in there, okay? You notice I'm not being overly fussy with it. Okay, there you go. Put some sky in there. You can put that blue down about into there, about the same. About the same distance on either side, just to make it open. Now this is up to you. You can go a little darker with the blue if you want the upper part of the sky to be a little bit deeper color. Usually that's what happens out there in nature. Okay, a little bit darker up there. Now, while we're at it, let's toss in a little bit of the ocean color. So let's see. I mentioned the ocean salt water is usually sort of has a little hint of green. So let's take a little bit of that yellow, mix it in with some of the blue that I have, yellow and blue. Let's try this shade. It's something like salt water. Okay, it's a little bit deeper color, but that's all right. Now, I mentioned also that you might want to show a little bit of foam, so I just leave the paper itself white. But if you want to add some more white because you put too much color, blue and green, you use some of this white. This is acrylic paint, and it's sort of more of a solid color. It's not so transparency, and that white will cover up some of the color that you don't want to show as much. Okay, let's make this a little bit greener. So let's add a little bit more blue and yellow together, and see what we can do. Oh, it's quite a bit darker, isn't it? Okay, let's add some more water to it. And you know, when a color gets a little bit too much, you can blot it. Take your paper towel. I usually keep a paper towel in one hand and the brush in the other. And you'll find that a lot of artists always paint that way, especially for watercolor. They're always dabbing it, blotting up some of that water. We'll put some more green in here, greenish color. Now, if you want to get it a little bit more towards the blue, you add a little bit more blue, and you can make it, put back some of the blue into the water. Make it look splashy, okay? Splashy. All right, something like this. All right. Now, these things can be a lot of fun. And I don't know if I mentioned it, if you can't find objects in there, like I happen to see this looking like a whale, and then building around the theme of the whale idea. If you can't do anything else, just make it into a design. Connect some of the lines that I put in with a marker, and then just connect it and just make a design out of it. But in the process of making the design sometimes, all of a sudden you see, oh, that looks like a field. That might be a field of grass and trees and flowers or whatever. So it can change, you know, kind of a transition. Okay, what else can we do? Maybe some splashes here. How's that? Oops. All right. Sometimes I go right to the edge. Right to the edge. I gotta put this over here so I don't paint the tablecloth. All right. Oh, come on, get onto there. That's better. Get that out of the way. Okay. Now, I mentioned you can kind of clean the brush off, and you can add just some straight blue out there if you want. It's not going to be too straight, though, as far as being bluish, because I got a lot of green on the brush right now. You could put some blue back in there. Here and there. I kind of pull the brush out so it looks like, you know, splashing, water's kind of splashing around here. Okay. I think there was a little write-up in the paper the other day about, they call it a killer whale or something, that they had to, it was grounded. It was up on the beach somehow, and they had quite a job getting that whale back into the ocean. They had cranes and everything else to lift it back so it could get back to the water. That was in the paper just recently. I've been on what they call the whale watch. There's a couple of ships, smaller boats that go out, and like for tourists that want to go whale watching. And I've been on that. We went one time, and one of these squalls came up, and we had to turn around and come back. But they gave us a rain check. And so a couple of weeks later, we finally went back to Plymouth, and I think it was Captain Joe or Captain John's, and that was the name of the tourist whale watch group, Captain John's boats. I think that was, don't hold me to that, but it was a while ago. But I know it was where we took the boat, and we went quite a ways out before we spotted the whales. And I think we were almost sailing from Plymouth, almost out to the tip of Provincetown. You could see Provincetown off in the distance there. So that was quite a ride across that sort of a area. Okay, make it splashy. You can add a little bit extra as you go along. Now, we could make this whale kind of cartoonish if we wanted to, but I'm going to still save that a bit. But I do want to maybe add some of my, I think I had a brown in here somewhere. I had sepia. That's a very dark color. And maybe I can put that in there. Yeah, well, we'll use this one too. This is raw sienna. And let's make some of the wood of the ship. Okay? Let's put some of that over in here. And we'll paint some of the wood. Now, we said there was a mast of the ship here, so that could be kind of breaking up, bent, whatever. Put that in there. Make it a little bit wider, the pole, the mast. Then you got some wood here, some of the wood, and let's paint some of that in. You can add more to your drawing. I mean, you can paint more into this. The planking of the ship. I think the whale attacked the main ship. I believe that was it wasn't a small boat that they went out with the harpoonist, but I think I thought the whale actually sunk the ship that the largest ship that they traveled with. But I could be wrong. We'll have some planking going all over the place here. I'm staying within some of of course, the original lines of my design here, if I can. What else? Yeah. All right. Looks like he has a smile. I don't think it was something that the sailors were too smiling about. Let's see. What else? Just about anything else. Okay. Maybe some larger shapes of the boat. Where could we? Oh, we could put some down in here. Make some larger pieces in here if you want. Over in here, possibly. Whoops. Kind of getting this a little bit washed up here. Another bigger shape of the ship here. Sailing ship. I don't know if any of you have ever traveled down to Mystic Seaport, and it's a nice place to visit. It's probably, you take 95 out of Attleboro, pick up 95 through Providence, just stay on 95, and it's about 50 miles down to Rhode Island, but just over the Rhode Island line, I think you're in Connecticut. I'm quite sure it might be Connecticut, and they have a sort of a situation. It's like a little fishing village. They've moved some of the buildings and things into this area, and it's typical like it was in the olden days, the homes and things. It's a nice place to visit. I've been there a few times. It's a nice trip to take, though. Very educational. And it's similar to the idea of what is it, Sudbury, like a little community that they kind of built up. Okay, so I don't know how much more you want to put into this as far as detail goes, but now you got to think of what the coloring on the whale might be. I don't know if a couple of whales, I thought they had white bellies a little bit, but I'm not sure about that. But we'll see if I can find, I don't think I put my Payne's Gray out, but I'm going to consider that probably the whale might be the outside of the body covering might be sort of grayish. Okay, so I'm putting some Payne's Gray in here, and we'll leave some of the body underneath here white. I could be wrong about that. They call them killer whales, right? I think if you ran into anyone, they probably could do a lot of damage. I'm going to put this up in here. It looks a little bit too dark, so I'm going to pull some of that color out, lighten it up. Watercolor, to lighten it, you don't add white paint, you just thin it down the color, put more water in there. Here's the eye, and here's some. We'll leave this for the eye, and we'll paint the head here. The whales do have that water spout. It's on the back. That's how they kind of, disperse some of the water from their body. Yeah, come around here. I think the eyes are small compared to the size of the body. And then we'll do the tail out in here. Okay, that's how that works, a little bit that way. And then sort of like a little bit of a wedge shape. How the tail goes in here, we'll paint it back here, tie this together. And I think I could be wrong, but I'm just going to keep the belly white through here. I'm not really an expert on whales or any kind of fish. My grandson, he just loves to go, oh, I should mention this. Before getting down to this village, there is a town itself that's Mystic. I never actually been into the town, just to the village setting for tourists. But get this around here. So anyways, they have different things that you can take in. They have one place is fantastic. The old time clocks, you know, the tall grandfather clocks or whatever they refer them to, and there's another building where they used to make the rope. And the building had to be quite lengthy, a long building, so that they could make the how they used to coil the rope, you know. And it was quite an interesting project, doing all that rope work. Okay. Now inside, I don't know. I don't know. We'll kind of leave that. And I'm just going to leave the white of the paper for the belly part. Here's the tail. Something like that. Or maybe I should put in the water spout. I probably could put that in. Now, that's the problem with watercolor and markers. The marker won't work if the watercolor is wet. So I have to kind of hold off a little bit before I put the water spout on the back of the wheel and let it go like that. Now, I don't know if you want to show some of the commotion going on with the sailors there. You could probably just take, I don't know if I had orange. Oh yeah, I got a little bit of orange. Let's try to use that. Now, I'm quite sure over the years, some of these sailors, they probably could get injured. This was dangerous work, going out in the smaller boats and whatnot. But I never heard of anyone ever really being killed. I had a head. Let's put the one head here. Just put that in there. There was another head, a body over here. You can put that in. You can't go into a lot of detail when you do this. You just got to just suggest the shape of a head, and probably you could put somebody else out here, back there. How many went out into the boat? Well, they had to have a few that rowed, and then the man with a harpoon, he had to be up front, and so I'm just saying maybe at least 7. Well, let's say 7, maybe. That rowed the boat and whatnot, but they'd have more than one boat too. Usually when they were going out, sometimes I think the crew. Well, the whole crew might not have amounted to more than, let's say, 35 people, maybe 40. And back then, they used to have to go way down around Cape of Good Hope, was it? Something like that. Way down around South America, and then come back up and go into the Pacific Ocean on the west side of the United States, out that way. and that's where they did a lot of whaling in that particular area. So sometimes they'd be gone quite a while. They'd be gone for maybe a year or 2 years. That's a long time away from home. But it was so slow having to, go out on sailboats. It took quite a while to get home again. Okay. There could be other things floating around, chairs, boxes, whatever the boat they had on the ship. You could add some of those things in there. I don't know what they could be, but you just could put some little things in there, like that. I think we could add some more, maybe put some more people in the boat, maybe, or you could have some larger pieces of wood right in this area, because I think the whale sunk the main ship there. Because they may have exaggerated a little bit in Moby Dick the size of the whale, but they were pretty big, I'm telling you a little bit about the whaling part of it, because I've been to that museum in New Bedford. I've never been to the whaling museum out there in Nantucket. I don't think I've been to Nantucket, probably not more than once or twice. I've been over to Martha's Vineyard maybe 3 or 4 times, maybe 5 times, because it's closer to, not so far out to sea. Well, I don't know what else. You could add some of the clothing, maybe. Probably wearing some heavier clothing. Okay, whatever you might want to put in. Now, pretty much this is the picture, and you can add more to it. You can take a smaller brush if you want, and let's see if I can find a smaller brush. I usually have what we call a design brush. This is a thinner one. And then there's another name for it called a rigger, because that's the brush is so fine, you put all the rigging on the ship, all the rope work, and they call it a rigger. And then another word, I mentioned design brush, and sometimes they call those thin ones by that name. Let's put a couple of birds up here, seagulls. And one there, maybe one out here. Maybe a third one, me, for uneven numbers. So we'll put another bird out in there somewhere. Something like that. You could show maybe something else, I don't know. I don't think there were too many boats back in those days. Not so much traffic back in those days. But for maybe a good, maybe 150 years, I guess the whaling industry was going pretty well, because they used to use the oil, for lamps, and I don't know if you could make perfume out of some of that material, but whaling was big. And then, of course, when electricity came along, they didn't have to have all these lamps. They had gas lamps and eventually electricity, so they got away from depending on the whale oil. Okay, well, this is pretty much the idea of it. Like I said, I didn't know for the world what this was going to turn into, but just one shape, it looked like the tail and the head of a whale that formed the subject. But I've got another one of these. Every one of these things was different. The only thing that made it similar was I used straight edges and some curvy shapes, but everybody had a different, thing to work with. Now, if I looked at this one, turn it around, I could probably see something different with that. It almost looks like a head. And, during the Olympic Games, all the swimming events, the breaststroke and all that, backstroke and all the different strokes. It looks like the heads of here, it looks like it could be a head, and the person is swimming in the water. The water's in here, that could be the body of the person, partially shown just above the water, the upper body and the arms. But that looks like, it could be that. I don't know. I see a little bit of something here where that could look like a hat, okay? Look like a hat, and this could be a head. And then you kind of put in the rest of the body. I'm turning it around here. This is really stretching it a little bit. You could make that into a wheelbarrow, finish it off as a wheel. And maybe the legs on the wheelbarrow here. This could be the body of the wheelbarrow. And what you could have is someone, maybe putting leaves in the barrel, whatever. So, but that's kind of stretching it a little bit. There could be a head here too. Somebody there. This could be a side profile. That'd be somebody with a real pointed chin right in here. Real pointed chin. So, could be a clover shape, a heart shape in there. Could be a pumpkin in there. Getting close to Halloween now. Not too close, though, is it? September, October, November. But you can imagine what you could turn some of this into. And it's a little bit of a challenge, but it's a lot of fun to see what you can do with it. So I'm getting kind of close to running out of time. But lately I've been trying to work with some ideas. Another time I did a dot picture, and I showed you how you could connect the dots and whatnot, and make something out of that. I had a sample of that. I don't know if I brought it with me. But between the lines and dots, it's kind of fun to see what you can make out of it. No, not in here. Maybe I didn't bring it. These are just blanks, extra paper. Probably didn't bring it, but nevertheless, this gives you a little bit of an idea what one can do with just a couple of ideas. And I just happen to know a little bit about whaling because, like I said, I visited the New Bedford Whaling Museum and Mystic Seaport over the years One time we had a class trip, a school, visited Mystic also. And so that's some of my memories from that. But that's pretty much it. So thanks for being with us, and brush us up. We'll see you next time.